All right, you guys want to talk shoes? Let's talk shoes. I want to talk shoes. Everybody wants to talk shoes, no matter if you're an elite or you're the average mall walker. Everybody wants to talk shoes. What shoes should I get? What shoes should I get? What shoes do you wear? What shoes do you recommend? Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience, probably since like COVID, since like 2020, and the shoes that I have been obsessed with, shoes that I thought that I liked, and shoes that I hated that I ended up liking with more experience in them, and where they fit in my training, and the purpose that they serve, and preserving the goods for race day. So let's get into today's workout. Today's workout was one that I was really pushing off. I am a coach. I'm a personal trainer here in my area. My days majority through the week start at 4:30. I coach my 5 a.m. class, and then I usually have 6 a.m. up until 10 a.m., sometimes 11 a.m. clients. And then I am usually back in the gym coaching my youth athletes once they get out of school around the 3:30 window. So what I do in between that time frame is usually my workouts. And I just had a couple of extra errands that I had to get done today. I am the cross country coach for our local junior college. I had some things I had to get done for them, as well as we did have practice earlier after my clients this morning. And you know what? I was just dragging. I had a little bit too much caffeine to get me through the day, and a lot of that was wearing off come about 5 o'clock. I got home and I was just like, I still got to get out and do this workout. And what did I think about? I thought of YouTube. I thought about, this is why you're doing this. This is why you are putting yourself out there, to keep yourself accountable. Because honestly, at the end of the day, this whole channel is about me being the best dad that I can, the best trainer that I can. And I really would like to do well in Chicago for HYROX this November. So let's lean into the shoes and why I have them. So tonight, the workout was a 1.5 mile warm up into a 2 mile tempo run, starting at like 7-minute pace down to like 6:30, I believe. I'll get more into how that workout went after I talk about the shoes. And then we did 4 by 30 seconds on, 60 seconds off, around 5K pace. We are running a 5K effort this weekend, probably around, I'm thinking we're going to try to shoot for at my PR. I don't know if we're necessarily trying to break it. I think we're trying to get close to it though, as the last race 2 weeks ago, which is kind of more of like a tempo workout, leading more into this weekend date. That being, it is Tuesday, September 10th, leaning into this coming Saturday. So sitting at my computer, filming some intro stuff for this week's video, and I was just tired. I was so tired. I was thinking of every excuse I could to push this off. I was like, no, I haven't ate that much today. Well, I've got plenty of fast digesting gels and stuff that I could eat here. I knew that was an excuse. I was like, well, I haven't had much water. I'm not that hydrated. I've got a cabinet full of electrolytes, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? It's cooling off. Get your butt up. And unfortunately, I leaned into the super shoe, a super shoe that I haven't worn in a very long time, one that I used to wear way too often, and that being the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent. I believe this is the second one. Nothing new about this shoe. Everybody knows about this shoe, but I haven't worn it in a long time, and I forgot how amazing this shoe is. Even just my warm-up, it's just so poppy. It's just so springy. This shoe does still have a lot of its like youth in it. I haven't worn it very much. I've maybe ran 30 miles in this shoe. I've had it forever, and I hardly ever run in it. For that sole purpose, in 2020, when I bought this shoe for the first time, I was doing everything in the shoe. It's crazy the first time you step in this shoe and how like unstable it is just walking in it. I was like, oh my God, I can't even walk downstairs. And then you see it like out on the HYROX floor. And I'll talk more about that another time, about why this shoe is just not that great for HYROX. But it just allowed me to put a little bit of my tiredness and my fatigue away and be snappy and it made, honestly, this shoe made tonight's run chill. I think I ran like 6:36, 6:24 for the 2 miles. I was conversational. I ran into our Fleet Feet run clubs half marathon, full marathon, 50-miler training group. They were right in my backyard. My backyard is the bike path, and they're out there. So just having them going back and forth doing 800s, like it just made my workout disappear. So between them, the cooling of our area and the temperature it was a scorcher. So a lot of heat exposure workouts are kind of starting to show their face, and technology. It's just a freaking great shoe. So I want to talk about why I was okay wearing this shoe mentally, as I would normally save this for race day. Sunday, we did 9 miles. And normally I would do that in one of two options. I have the Nike Next Percent. I'm sorry, this is the Nike Invincible. Nike Invincible 2. I think this is the 2 or the 3. I don't know. But this shoe is super soft, super soft. Like honestly, if I'm going to do anything in this shoe, it's going to be like serious recover miles, like 10-minute pace, 9:30, 10:30, like just slogging around. And over the last year, wearing max cushion shoes, I feel like they are soft, they're squishy. I am keeping my foot from taking a lot of impact, but I feel like the max cushion bounce off the concrete is requiring more energy out of me. I feel like I'm more bouncing around. I feel like my running form is very poor when I run in max cushion shoes, and I just didn't want to do that on Sunday. I didn't want to go out and just slog 9 miles up and down the bike path. And this one is the New Balance 1080. It's a very old version. I've had this shoe for a while, I think. This is a good shoe. I don't mind it. The one thing I like about it is how wide the forefoot is. My foot has a lot of space to breathe. I can do some upbeat stuff in this. And had I not worn the shoe that I'm going to show now, I probably would have worn this. But again, just a shoe that like just wants to be ran slow in, and just wasn't in that mindset on Sunday. So I wanted to kind of feel more athletic, a little bit more poppier in a zone to run. And I went back to a shoe that I have probably never ran more than the HYROX distance. I've never ran probably more than 8K in this shoe. And I just wanted to see if it held up. I wanted to see how well my body would hold up, how well my form would hold up in a shoe that is not meant to be a recovery shoe. And that was the Adidas Boston 10, which has its light strike foam in it. As you can see, it has the rods, the carbon rods in there. This is a shoe that I ran my first HYROX in. The reason why I wore this for HYROX is for all the reasons what you look for in a shoe for HYROX. And that is a shoe that is going to have a very good base of rubber on that for that sled push, that sled pull. You're racing indoors. You want a shoe that's going to be able to corner well, something that's going to hold on to the corners where the arena might be hot, might be humid. It might even be kind of wet with sweat and with like waters being spilled and stuff like that. You want something that's going to be relatively a little bit more on the firmer side, and it's going to have good tread. Not only good tread, but a good like kind of vulcanized, whatever you want to call it. There's good shape in the tread. The tread is going this way. It's going to grip into that carpet when you are pulling, when you are pushing that sled. This grip is going to suck down on that carpet. But that being said, this thing is a brick. This thing has no cushion. There's no cushion in the shoe whatsoever. That being said, in the forefoot, in the sweet spot of this shoe, at like 8:30 pace, and I ran 9 miles about 8:30 pace on Sunday, which is a pace that I can still feel a little upbeat, but I'm not getting my heart rate up. But I wanted to feel strong. I wanted my feet to do some work. I wanted to build some volume in my legs, and this shoe got the job done. Now, granted, my feet were fairly beat up. But the good thing about these shoes is they fit me. If this shoe didn't fit me, if this shoe was a little snug, I would have been in serious trouble. Not as wide as the New Balance, but still wide enough to where my feet do breathe in this. But for my first HYROX, I ran it in this shoe. And another reason why you want to find a shoe that's similar to the body of this shoe, I'm not necessarily saying this is a good shoe for HYROX or you should get this shoe for HYROX. There's definitely way better options out there. But when it comes to the sandbag lunges, when you've got 65 pounds on your back and you're going down into that front forward lunge, You don't want a shoe like the Nike Vaporfly that has a ton of cushion, especially one like the Nike Invincible. That's something that when you're going down, that you want to keep that upper body nice and stable, and you want to keep those hips moving forward. This is going to collapse. This shoe has so much cushion in it that is going to collapse. That is going to cause a lot of your torso and your hips and your quads to lean left to right. You don't want that. So finding something that is going to have some stability in it, to where when you are doing wall balls, you're not worried about pronating or supinating and your form just in your body getting fatigued because the shoe is trying to do what it's not meant to do, and that is to compress. Where you can get a shoe that is more firmer, something that has some stability on the outside of it. And that's going to bring me to my next shoe, which is actually the shoe that I am racing HYROX Chicago in. A shoe that I am starting to see more on the HYROX floor, and that is the On Cloud Boom Echo 3. I have not ran in that Adidas Boston 10 for a long time, and then I got these and I ran a couple road races in them, and I'm like, this fits and feels, as far as like the depth and the toe box and the drop of the shoe feels so similar to this. So I decided to bring this back in the rotation. This stays in its cozy little bed in my room. Save these for race day. But again, carbon plated all the way through the forefoot. I believe it might go all the way through the back. It definitely feels like it goes all the way through the back. But another thing you're looking at here is good rubber all the way from the heel. Even the foam, even just the foam right here, has good tread. Like, you want anything that's going to grip onto that carpet, anything that's going to grip onto the turf. It's something that's going to corner well. This shoe, being a super shoe, is still a little on the firm side. It doesn't have a whole lot of squish to it, but it is very responsive at 5K, 10K speed. I thoroughly enjoy this shoe. Another thing I love about the shoe is it's got a very thin upper, very light upper. One thing you're going to do in a HYROX, you're going to sweat. You're going to sweat a ton. So having a shoe that was probably a little too thick on the upper, this shoe doesn't breathe very well. When you're in a race for 60 to 90 minutes, like, you want to not overheat, and you don't want your feet swishing around with sweat and getting blisters. So one thing I do like about this shoe is the upper. The laces, they suck. I highly recommend getting, if you get these shoes, which I do highly recommend this shoe, is getting maybe a different pair of laces. I honestly think I'm going to transition over to those lockdown, like triathlon laces, where I can just bam, in, lock it down, whatever. But this shoe corners well. It pushes well. It gets into the rower very well compared to like a Nike Vaporfly, where if you're a Vaporfly person, like I run every race of Vaporflies, this isn't going to feel the best getting into a rower. It's not going to prevent you from getting in the rower, but it's not going to be the best. And you'll see here, not a lot of tread back here. So when you're pushing a 300 to 500 pound sled, you're pulling for sure. When you're pulling, you're going to feel this foot swivel around on that carpet that HYROX has. When you are making corners, you're making sharp 90 degree, 45 degree angle turns in and out of rock zones, in and out of the run course. Like, this shoe is not meant to do those kind of things. So just not something I recommend. It's a great shoe, not a great shoe for HYROX. I've also seen a lot of trail shoes on the HYROX floor. I think people think like, oh, when it comes to the sleds, you need tread. You need like a trail lug to lock down that carpet. Also, again, you're running on concrete. You're running on carpet there. You're not running on something that is going to go into the earth and pull it with you. So even though this shoe has tread, it's still just all rubber down here. These rubber teeth are still very slick. So that is still going to be the part that is moving on the carpet, compared to this lockdown rubber. This does not feel, this is nice and slick. This is nice and smooth, where this has teeth. This is going to grab onto that. So another great shoe that I ran across that I do a lot of my training in for when it comes to more speed days. This I'm just using as an example. This is just a cheap pair of shoes that I actually found at like a thrift store here, but was looking for a pair of like backup soccer shoes for my daughter. Came across this on the rack. This is the Saucony Convara Pro. This is a very high stack, like super shoe trainer. If you're someone that races in the Endorphin Speed or the Endorphin Pro, this wouldn't be a bad trainer to have. Stack height is crazy. I'm 6'2". I feel like I'm 6'6" in this shoe. One thing you'll notice with this, if you're like, hey, I have this shoe, I'll do a HYROX in it. There is zero rubber on the bottom of this shoe. This shoe is way too tall to be sharpening around corners, shooting around corners, blah, blah, blah. Great shoe to do some speed workouts in. You can get this shoe for very cheap. Honestly, the only reason I'm bringing this into the conversation is because I do own a pair of Saucony Endorphin Speed 3s. They're at the gym. The Saucony Endorphin Speed 2s. I had the 2s. The new versions of the Saucony Endorphin Speeds and Pros, I've heard they're great for HYROX, but I can swear the 2s, they were all over the HYROX and the hybrid fitness floor. So I did DecaFit World Championships, and I did HYROX Houston in the Saucony Endorphin Speeds. Phenomenal, just an absolutely phenomenal shoe. I'm never hitting my max effort speed, so I just want a shoe that is going to perform well both on the run course and on the stations. And at that time last year, and in my budget, I got a cheap pair of Saucony and Endorphin Speed 2s, and they're delightful. I'm definitely going to get another pair. I haven't moved up to the new version. I'm not sure if it's 2 or the 3. I'm not sure if they're on the 4 or the 3. I know every time a new shoe comes out, it just gets softer and softer and softer. But looking at the tread of the new Saucony Endorphin Speeds and Pros, the tread just looks phenomenal. So I can't speak on the responsiveness. I'm assuming that it's just getting better and better. But the guys that are the best of the best in HYROX just seem to love the Saucony Endorphin Pro. But that's a list of kind of what I'm working with these days. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you guys want to leave me a like, a comment, a subscribe, suggest maybe some suggestions on some shoes that I should look into. Again, this is just kind of out of my own pocket. I'm definitely a eBay marketplace kind of person. The only thing I ever really spend like full price on is like my racers. When it comes to trainers, I just try to find good deals. So if I don't like it, I can kind of turn around, flip it, and try something else. But thanks for watching. See you later.